Hello learners, welcome back to another session of learning and development in organization. In this session, we'll look into organizational capabilities. So we are proceeding in a very incremental fashion. In the previous session, if you have gone through the video, you'll see that we have discussed about vision, mission and all. Now we are looking into the core strength, organizational capabilities. I'm Dr. Abraham Cyril Issac. I'm an assistant professor at the School of Business, Indian Institute of Technology, Guwahati. Now, when you look into organizational capabilities, the underlying theme for today's discussion would be coming together is a beginning, keeping together is progress, and working together is success. So, when you talk about organizational capabilities, please do understand that many a time we understand capabilities in a different way. We tend to direct it or correlate it with resources, which is not the case. Instead, we have to understand that organizational capabilities is all about the cohesion, all about bond harmony, all about the way people come together and contribute to the organization's success. So this would be the underlying theme for today's discussion. Let's understand organizational capabilities. Organizational capabilities are the intangible strategic assets that an organization uses to accomplish its work, execute its business strategy, and satisfy its customers. So when you talk about the organizational capabilities, please understand I'm using the word intangible. So many a time we make mistake in talking about organizational capabilities because of the fact that it is intangible. We are not able to measure it, we are not able to understand it properly. So that is where the organizational capabilities and the recognition and understanding of that becomes critical. Let's understand it in a clear manner. When you talk about it being intangible and strategic asset, you are essentially looking at it from a long-term perspective. So organizational capabilities cannot originate from a single effort or by following on an external template. If you look into all the organizations that have typical capabilities, they are acquired and refined internally from multiple interactions to be organization specific. So all the organization capabilities can include expertise, it can include activities, information, knowledge, procedures, processes, skills, systems, technologies, or all the possible adaptive features. So the strength and alignment of such assets define a company's identity. It is key factor in differentiating it from the competitors. So each organization develops and integrates these attributes into its culture over time. So they are challenging for others to pinpoint and replicate. So when you are looking into organizational capabilities, it's all about competitive advantage, the ability to manage resources and information effectively, helps focus an organization on meeting the customer demands with its distinctive products and services. So this typically leads to surpassing competitors and gaining prominence in the marketplace. Another significant aspect would be adapting to change, the adaptability. An organization that makes efforts to align with the employees, customers, and emerging trends and markets can better foresee and plan for the new directions it must take. The third significant aspect would be to drive business performance. You look into certain typical aspects of business landscape, investing in the development of organizational capabilities. They hone a company's strengths and identity, if you ask me. So harnessing this intangible value specifically promotes stability and makes the most of what everyone has to offer. So this delivers optimal performance per se. Now let's look into the importance of organizational capability. The first one is adaptability. You look into organizations with strong capabilities, they can foresee changes in customer relations and market trends, allowing them to adapt more easily. The second one is customer relationships. Effective capabilities enable organizations to build strong customer relationships, enhancing loyalty and market share. The third aspect is typically innovation. Investing in employee development drives innovation by encouraging creativity and exploration of new ideas. The fourth aspect is competitive advantage. You talk about unique organizational capabilities that help firms attract top talent and implement strategies that distinguish them from competitors. And you have talent retention, where organizations prioritize their capabilities that can retain skilled employees who align with the company's mission and goals. Now, let's look into the types of organizational capabilities. You look into strategic capabilities, it is nothing but the ability to develop and execute business strategies. So it is essentially strategic capabilities and it is essentially long term. It is a capacity to identify and capitalize on market opportunities. Then you have efficient allocation of resources to maximize the impact. Then you have operational capabilities. You look into designing, implementing and optimizing core business processes. You can look into managing supply chains, logistics and distribution effectively. It also ensures quality, reliability and consistency of products or services. Then you have the typical human capital capabilities. You look into fostering a skilled workforce through effective recruitment, effective training program and development program, creating a culture that promotes continuous learning and employee engagement, ensuring that employees are aligned with the organizational goals and values. You also have typically the market-based capabilities which focus on marketing and distribution strategies. Marketing and distribution strategies typically that enhance the product perception. So building strong customer relationships through effective engagement strategies is a key aspect. Then you have the collaboration capabilities. Typically, you look into promoting teamwork across departments to enhance creativity and efficiency. Encouraging knowledge sharing and joint problem solving among employees is also vital with respect to collaboration capabilities. You also have, as I have mentioned, the dynamic capabilities, the ability to adapt quickly to changes in the market or environment. So implementing changes in response to evolving trends or stakeholder needs are vital. So proactively, innovation can happen to stay ahead of competitors. Then you also talk about the technological capabilities, leveraging technology to improve the efficiency or productivity and innovation, developing or acquiring new technologies and integrating them into business processes, or even sometimes managing data and information effectively to support the decision making. These are some of the vital types of organizational capabilities. A list of them I have already mentioned. Now let's look into some of the examples of organizational capabilities. Please note, ladies and gentlemen, the first and the foremost one I'll take is organization culture. A strong and inclusive culture fosters employee engagement and collaboration, aligning individual behaviors with organizational goals. This is something which we have been discussing time and again. So this supportive environment enhances teamwork and drives the overall performance. So you look into organizational culture, this happens to be one of the typical organizational capability. Another significant aspect would be the leadership performance. You look into effective leadership, it is vital, it is crucial for inspiring and managing teams. So when leaders who communicate a clear vision typically and embody the organization values, it can motivate employees and create a positive work atmosphere. Then you have the agility. You talk about the ability to adapt quickly to changes in the market or internal environment. That is vital. So organizations that are agile, They can respond to new challenges and opportunities without any bureaucratic delays or red tapeism, allowing for proactive decision making. Another significant example would be of innovation. We talk about a culture that encourages creativity and experimentation, that leads to continuous improvement and development of new products or even process. So these are typically relevant towards innovation. So organizations that prioritize innovation can stay ahead of competitors by meeting evolving customer needs. Another significant aspect would be the talent management. You talk about attracting, you talk about developing and retaining skilled employees is vital for organizational success. Effective talent management ensures that employees are equipped with necessary skills and motivated to perform at their best. Then you have the customer connectivity. We talk about building strong relationships with customers through understanding their needs and providing exceptional service. It certainly, if you ask me, enhances loyalty and satisfaction. So, organizations that typically excel in customer connectivity can better tailor their offerings to market demands. And finally, you have the strategic unity. We talk about ensuring that all employees understand and align with the organization's strategic goals. It fosters a cohesive approach to achieving objectives. So, this unity helps streamline efforts across departments, enhancing overall effectiveness. Now, let's look into the steps to identify the unique organizational capabilities. We start with defining the strategic intent. If you recollect the first module, I have introduced you to the strategic intent in your organization. Begin by clarifying the organization's strategic goals and mission. So, this foundational understanding helps align the identification of capabilities with the overall direction of the company. So, strategic capabilities should be in alignment with the overall direction of the organization. Then you go for identification of key capabilities. You look into determining which capabilities are critical for achieving strategic objectives. You focus on limited number of core capabilities, ideally no more than 6, that reflect what the organization does best. So this includes operational, strategic, dynamic and behavioral capabilities. You also now have to conduct capability assessments using diagnostic tools to evaluate current capabilities against the industry benchmarks. So this can involve, let's say, surveys, interviews, performance metrics to gauge the proficiency in each capability compared to the best-in-class organizations. You also analyze capability gaps. You look into assessing where the organization currently stands versus where it aims to be. So, identify specific areas for improvement and consider the resources and processes needed to enhance these capabilities. Then you learn from the best practices. Compare your organization's capabilities with those of high performing companies and even from different industries to have better insights and effective practices that could be adapted. Penultimate step would be to engage with the stakeholders. Stakeholders are always vital for any organization. We had extensive discussion about that in the previous session also. So it involves employees and leadership in discussions about organizational identity and perceived strengths. So gathering diverse perspectives that can help pinpoint unique attributes that differentiate the organization from the competitors. And finally, you establish performance indicators. You talk about setting clear metrics for each identified capability to monitor progress over time and make informed decisions about resource allocation and development efforts. Now, let's look into the most common challenges in identifying the unique capabilities. Again, the same discussion we had in our NPTEL course of AI in HRM. We always look into this as one of the most critical aspect, which is a resistance to change. Please note, ladies and gentlemen, employees may resist efforts to identify and develop capabilities. It may be due to the fear of change or uncertainty about new process. So this resistance can obstruct the identification process and lead to missed opportunities for growth. Then you have lack of clear strategy. You look into organizations that may struggle with strategic shortcomings, where the absence of a well-defined strategy leads to confusion about priorities and goals. So this misalignment can result in fragmented efforts across departments, making it difficult to identify and develop unique capabilities effectively. You also have some resource and budget constraints. You look into limited financial resources that can restrict an organization's ability to invest in capability assessments, be it training, be it development initiatives. So when budgets are tight, organizations may prioritize short-term needs over long-term capability building, impeding their ability to identify and nurture unique strengths. Then the possibility of skill gaps exists, a lack of necessary skills within the workforce that can pose a significant challenge. Organizations may find it difficult to assess their capabilities accurately if employees lack the expertise to evaluate processes or contribute to capability development. Then you have the inadequate training and support. You look into this aspect, you see and understand that without proper training and support, employees may not be equipped to engage with, understand the organization's capabilities fully. So this certainly this lack of preparation can lead to resistance and hinder the identification of unique strengths. Then you have the problem of siloed operations. When teams operate in silos, and this is again categorically discussed in our NPTEL organizational behavior course, when teams operate in silos without effective communication or collaboration, it becomes challenging to gain a comprehensive view of organizational capabilities. So this lack of cohesion can prevent insights from being shared, limiting the understanding of unique strengths across the organization. We also see there are at times insufficient feedback mechanisms. Lack of feedback loop that can hinder the identification of capabilities, and also by preventing organizations from understanding performance gaps or areas for improvement. So effective feedback is crucial for recognizing what works well and what needs enhancement. Now let's look into the different strategies that can be adopted to overcome resistance to change, because we have categorically established now that resistance to change could be one of the factors, especially when it comes to learning and development. So the first and the foremost one, without doubt, we can say that it is effective communication. Please clearly articulate the reasons for the change, its benefits, expected outcomes, all the typical aspects. So transparent communication typically helps alleviate fears and uncertainties among employees. Utilize various channels such as meetings, emails, and one-on-one discussions to ensure that the message reaches all levels of organization. Then you have to involve the employees in the process. You look into engaging employees early in the change process by seeking their input and feedback. So this involvement fosters a sense of ownership and responsibility, making employees more likely to support the changes. It is all about conducting brainstorming sessions or surveys to gather insights and preferences from staff. Then you have clear-cut provision for training and resources. Offer comprehensive training programs that equip employees with the necessary skills and knowledge to adapt to the changes. So this can include, let's say, formal workshops, on-the-job coaching, or access to online learning resources. So ensuring that employees feel competent in their new roles reduces anxiety and resistance. You also have to think about addressing emotional concerns. When you look into recognizing that resistance often stems from the fear of unknown or concerns about job security. So, address these emotional aspects by providing reassurance and support throughout the transition process. So, leaders should be approachable, allowing employees to express their concerns openly. The fifth aspect or strategy to overcome resistance would be to lead by example. When leadership plays a critical role in managing change resistance, so leaders should model the behaviors they wish to see in their teams by actively participating in the change process. So this change process is significant and the leadership should participate in that rather than being a mere spectator. So when leaders demonstrate commitment and adaptability, it sets a positive example for others. It's all about creating a support culture. You look into fostering an organizational culture that values adaptability, innovation, and continuous learning. It's all about encouraging employees to share ideas and reward those who embrace change. A culture that supports growth, that can mitigate resistance, and promote acceptance of new capabilities. Then you have the attempt to monitor progress and provide feedback. Establish mechanisms for monitoring the implementation of changes and gathering ongoing feedback from employees. So this allows organization to make adjustments as needed and reinforces the idea that employee input is valued throughout the process. Now, before concluding, let's look into how learning and development helps in organizational capabilities. The first and the foremost factor when you look into learning and development with respect to organizational capabilities is skill development. L&D programs, if you ask me, focus on upskilling employees to meet current and future job requirements. So it is not only the current aspects that are being taken care of, the future job requirements are also being considered here. So by identifying capability gaps and providing targeted training, organizations can ensure their workforce possesses the necessary skills to execute business strategies effectively. Then you have a typical aspect of promoting innovation. When you talk about L&D, how it helps in organization capabilities, ladies and gentlemen, please note, L&D fosters a culture of innovation by encouraging collaboration, by encouraging rapid learning, by encouraging experimentation. So employees equipped with the right skills are more confident in managing uncertainty and can contribute to innovative solutions that drive organizational success. Then you have alignment with business strategy. You look into a well-structured L&D strategy that aligns with the organization's overall objectives, overall business goals, ensuring that the employee development supports strategic objectives. So this alignment helps organizations build the specific capabilities needed for competitive advantage. Then another significant way how it will help is by continuous improvement. By encouraging ongoing learning and development, organizations typically cultivate a spirit of continuous improvement among employees. So this leads to enhanced performance, it leads to increased productivity, it leads to a proactive approach to challenges. And finally, you have the enhanced collaboration. L&D initiatives, all the learning and development initiatives typically promote teamwork, they promote cross-functional collaboration, breaking down silos within the organization. So this collaborative approach helps leverage diverse perspectives and expertise, enhancing problem-solving capabilities. Now, let's have a session of practical understanding. We look into Amazon, the case study with respect to Amazon that would focus on the key organizational capabilities of Amazon. So Amazon has developed several unique organizational capabilities. I repeat, several unique organizational capabilities that contribute to its success in the competitive e-commerce and technology landscape. So we see that one of the most inspiring organization, one of the most interesting organization to look into is always Amazon. So the fact of the matter is the customer-centric culture. You look into the customer-centric culture, Amazon is renowned for its commitment to customer satisfaction, no doubt about it. No dilution in that. The organization prioritizes understanding customer needs and preferences, which drives product development, service enhancements. So, this focus on the customer has positioned Amazon as one of the most customer centric companies globally. If you look into the cultural deviations, there are some hiccups there, because if you see in terms of the return policies and all, there are no questions asked. But when it comes to some particular culture, let me have a contrasting comparison here. You look into some of the orders that are placed in Amazon.com and Amazon.co.in, you'll see a striking difference in terms of the present marketplace fees and some additional hidden costs that are included. And again, the return policies being re-guided and redesigned by replacement policies, and all these aspects are typical to some culture. Maybe the use or misuse of that would have prompted the company, but that said, it is one of the most customer-centric organization. So this focus on the customer has typically positioned Amazon as one of the most interesting and customer-friendly organization. So another significant aspect is the agility and flexibility. Amazon's employs a two-pizza team structure, a two-pizza team structure which promotes small cross-functional teams that can make quick decisions and adapt to changing market conditions. So this agile approach allows Amazon to innovate rapidly and respond effectively to customer demands. Another significant aspect is the extensive delivery network. Amazon has built a robust logistics and delivery infrastructure that includes strategic warehouses and distribution hubs. So this extensive network enables efficient order fulfillment and supports rapid delivery services such as, say, Amazon Prime in that case. Another significant aspect is the diverse service offering. This company has diversified its service beyond e-commerce, including cloud computing through Amazon Web Services, streaming services, and more. So this diversification allows Amazon to leverage its existing capabilities across different markets. Another significant aspect is the data-driven decision making. You talk about Amazon, it utilizes advanced data analytics and artificial intelligence to inform business decisions, optimize operations, and enhance the customer experiences. So this capability enables the company to anticipate trends and tailor offerings effectively. Then you have the strong leadership structure. Amazon's hierarchical structure facilitates clear communication and accountability across various business functions. So senior leaders, they provide strategic direction while empowering lower level managers to execute plans effectively. And finally, you have a focus when it comes to Amazon on innovation. The company fosters a culture of innovation by encouraging experimentation and risk-taking among employees. So typically, the emphasis on continuous improvement drives the development of new products and services, keeping Amazon at the forefront of all the technological advancements. So when you look into organizational capabilities, this is one of the critical case that we can always look into. When you look into the typical aspects of organizational capability, you see that organizational capability happens to be one of the most foremost criteria. It's not about only resources. It's about the organization capability in bringing out more and more of effective learning and development programs, because there you have the potential to analyze the needs the individuals, the organizations, individuals within the organizations have, and it also has the potential to, outweigh or cover up what all are the lacunae or what all are the problems. So this is what makes organizational capabilities directly proportional, directly correlated with the learning and development efforts. So we'll look into more of these subtle ideas about learning and development in the next class. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.